Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Boomer Buddies podcast, where we tell it like it was and is. I'm your host, Rick Reed. Today, we're going to talk about a boomer who passed away September 5th, 2025. His name is Mark Volman, and he was one of the co-founders of a band that was very important to us boomers back in the mid to late 60s. That band was the Turtles. And Mark died from a short illness, and he will be missed. If you don't remember Mark Volman, he was the one that usually accompanied Howard Kaylan, the lead singer, with a tambourine or some kind of a prop. He had fuzzy black hair. He'd wear big wide ties. He'd wear strange hats. He was a lot of fun, and his harmonies were wonderful with Howard Kaylan. Well, let's talk about the background of Mark Volman. He was born April 19th, 1947. Yes, a boomer. And he passed away, as I mentioned, September 5th, 2025. He was a vocalist, guitarist, and songwriter. And I usually saw him with a tambourine or a prop tuba or something along those lines. He was a lot of fun performing live or on TV. He was best known as the founding member of the 1960s rock band, the Turtles, and along with his bandmate Howard Kaylan, a member of the 70s rock duo Flo and Eddie, where he used the pseudonym Flo, short for Fluorescent Leech. Volman also became a standout figure upon joining Frank Zappa's band, the Mothers of Invention. He is a California boy. He grew up in Westchester, a suburb of Los Angeles, where he performed in the Proto-Turtles band, the Crossfires, and he graduated from Westchester High School in 1965. So right out of high school, they started making hits with the Turtles. Well, later in life, he went back to school in 1992 at age 45, and he went to Loyola Marymount University. He was an active undergraduate member of the choir and founding father of the California Chi chapter of Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity. He graduated with a BA in 1997, magna cum laude, and was a class valedictorian speaker. During the speech, he led the graduates in a chorus of Happy Together. Wow. He was just a fun-loving, generous man who later even got his master's degree in fine arts with emphasis in screenwriting. What a guy. The Turtles' first hit was in 1965, and it was a Dylan song, That Ain't Me, Babe. And from there, they just took off. They had 9 top 40 hits back in the day, and Mark was very important to the band with his excellent backup vocals, and he also was very playful back and forth with Howard Kaylan, the lead singer. It's just a terrible loss. He was a good guy by all accounts. Richie Furay stated after Mark Volman's death that he really appreciated the kindness that Mark showed to him when he needed a place to stay after moving out there. There's countless stories of his generosity. Mark Volman and the Turtles made hits until they broke up in the 70s. Some of the hits with the Turtles, I'll read them off for you. It Ain't Me, Babe, back in 1965, that reached number 8. Let Me Be, that hit number 29 in 1965. And in 1966, You Baby was a big hit for the Turtles, hit number 20. And then in 1967, their number one hit, their only number one hit, Happy Together, which replaced Penny Lane for the top spot, the Beatles' Penny Lane. And then they followed that up also in 1967 with She'd Rather Be With Me. Now that was a raucous, fun song that they did, and it's one of my favorites. And then also in 1967, August, You Know What I Mean. And in December of 67, She's My Girl, which was just a beautiful soundscape of music, just dreamy, which also used a Moog synthesizer. One of the first times you'll hear that. And then, of course, in 1968, the record company was putting a lot of pressure on them to come up with another Happy Together type of masterpiece. And so, just out of spite, if you will, they recorded a song called Eleanor. And the lyrics on there are just so hilarious to me. Their last top 40 hit, also hitting number 6 in early 1969, was You Showed Me. And You Showed Me also was a kind of a dreamy soundscape song. Playful lyrics, but they also had some serious stuff too. Now, I just want to talk about the song Eleanor. You had a serious song by the Beatles, Eleanor Rigby, and you have the song by the Turtles, Eleanor. Credit for the writing was given to the whole band. But it's just so tongue-in-cheek fun the way they did the lyrics, because the record company wanted them to write another hit, and this is kind of a dig at them, hoping it bombed so the record company wouldn't get a lot of profit off of the song. But it backfired, and it ended up being a number 6 hit. I just want to read the lyrics to you. It's just amazingly cool to see how their minds worked to write a novelty throwaway song. I'll drop the lyrics in here if you're watching on YouTube so you can see them. And then if you're listening on audio outlets, you can just hear me say them. All right, Eleanor, you got a thing about you. I just can't live without you. I really want you, Eleanor, near me. Your looks intoxicate me, even though your folks hate me. There's no one like you, Eleanor, really. And here's the chorus. Eleanor, gee, I think you're swell, and you really do me well. You're my pride and joy, etc. Now, who has ever put those words, etc., into a song? Well, the Turtles did. Eleanor, can I take the time to ask you to speak your mind? Tell me that you love me better. I really think you're groovy. Let's go out to a movie. What do you say now, Eleanor? Can we? They'll turn the lights way down low. Maybe we won't watch the show. I think I love you, Eleanor. Love me. And then the chorus again. Eleanor, gee, I think you're swell, and you really do me well. You're my pride and joy, etc. Eleanor, can I take the time to ask you to speak your mind? Tell me that you love me better. Eleanor, gee, I think you're swell. Eleanor, gee, I think you're swell. And it goes on with the ending with the classic all in harmony. Those were the lyrics for Eleanor. Just a, a classic song that ended up being a big hit that they didn't intend to. And then, of course, they formed the Happy Together tour, where they toured on cruise ships, state fairs. I happened to see them at the Minnesota State Fair a couple of times, and they were so much fun, so much energy. And Mark Volman was part of that energy and fun. I want to go back and talk a little bit about some of his songs. I can remember, obviously, Happy Together, Ed Sullivan Show. Whenever they had TV appearances, I was glued to that TV set. And I always watched Mark Volman a little closer because of his antics. And I thought they were kind of clownish back then. As a little kid, I thought, oh, he's a clown. But he was a performer. Looking back, I really value what he contributed to the Turtles and to the world. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. And if you're listening on Spotify or Buzzsprout, please go ahead and give us a good rating. It really helps the algorithms. And if you're watching on YouTube, please share, like, comment, and subscribe. There's a lot of viewers out there who do not subscribe, and I'd like to see that go up as well. And I appreciate you for doing that. If it's your first time here, I hope you liked it. We do a lot of nostalgic content. I oftentimes have guests. Today I'm flying solo, but that's cool. I like doing that as well. Go ahead and offer up any content ideas that you have. Mark Volman, who passed away, he had a very big impact on the music that we listened to as boomers growing up, and his personality was bigger than life. I'm a fan. I'm Rick Reed from My Boomer Buddies podcast. Sure glad that you were with me today, and I hope you come back for the next time. We talked about Mark Volman today and his time with the Turtles, Flo and Eddie, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, and the other things that he did in his career, especially the Happy Together tour. If you haven't seen that, go on YouTube. There's a lot of recordings of performances by various artists like Rondante, the Cowsills, the Buckinghams, Gary Lewis Association, and many hitmakers from the past. Mark Volman, may you rest in peace, and thanks for everything that you did. For my Boomer Buddies podcast, I'm Rick Reed. Until next time, we'll see you around the block.